1, and we will be talking about the reading passages. So first of all, we can discuss a few major changes that occurred on the new SAT. All of the questions are now passage-based, meaning that there are no more sentence completion questions to worry about. The type of subjects each passage covers are now the same in all tests. So the new critical reading section will consist of one passage dealing with U.S. and world history, two passages dealing with history and social studies, and two passages dealing with science. Now, for the science passages, there are data interpretation questions. You will have to analyze charts and graphs, and this is quite similar to ACT science passages if you've taken ACT or will be taking ACT. Okay, now we're going to move on to some general approaches on the SAT reading passages. So first of all, you want to skim over the questions and plot them accordingly next to the line of the passage. These questions will specify where you can find them in the passage, and you will plot the questions, allowing you to focus your attention to the portion of the passage where you can find important information for answering questions. Underline any vocab that is mentioned in the questions. So we're going to go to the practice test here, and we're going to look at this College Board released. We're going to look at the first passage and see what we can do with that strategy we just learned about here. Okay. So which choice best describes what happened in the passage? This does not contain that line, so you can skip that. This is not either, skip that. And what do you know? Number 3 actually has lines, so you go to lines 1 and 65 and circle directly as it's stated. So you're technically plotting your questions. So this is before you, right when you enter a passage, you want to plot your questions. So for example, that was number 3, so you'd mark line 1, label question 3, then circle directly. Now, well, you'll do this for the rest of the questions in the passage. So now we move on to here. Read over the passage carefully, underlining key information that helps you understand the passage's tone and main idea. Box proper nouns, dates, and time indicators. So make sure you just underline key info that helps you understand the passage as a whole. Next, as you come across plotted questions, read 2 sentences of above and below plotted areas and answer the questions related. So once you plotted the questions, you can actually answer them without reading the passage. You can just skim through the passage, and or especially the ones with the passage based, and read through it. Now, read through each answer choice for each question and underline 2 to 3 words for each choice that seems to sum up the general idea of the answer. Be on the lookout for things that you can eliminate. Underline only what separates the answer choice from the other choices. Look for patterns within the answer choice and do not choose answer choices that look right except for one word. It is most likely wrong. Half right is all wrong. So underlining some keywords in the answer choice. First of all, we can just look at this example here. Keywords are here would be character argues another character intrude on her home. Character surprising request from another character. Character reminisces choices over the years. Character criticizes another character for pursuing unexpected course of action. So, okay, so now we move on to the next tip. So, read through each answer choice and each question and underline 2 to 3 words. Oh wait, we just did that. My bad. Then for number 6, any tone shifts within the passage will be reflected by the first and last sentence of the paragraph. So if you have trouble understanding what the main ideas of the tone is, make sure to look at the first paragraph, the last paragraph, and the last few, the topic sentence of each paragraph to understand what the general meaning of the tone and the main idea of the story. Try to pace yourself through the new SAT. The entire reading section in this case is, let's see, 65 minutes with 52 questions. So that gives you about 1.25 minutes for each question. Here we go. Question answering tips. Read the entirety of each answer choice. Answer choice must be 100% correct to be the right answer. Even if half of it's true, if the rest isn't true, then it's still incorrect. So make sure the whole answer choice is correct, and you should be able to see in the passage where you exactly got your answer. Look for words in answer choice that makes it much more likely to be incorrect. Words such as absolute language, extreme language, and intensifying language will usually make the answer choice incorrect, making the question or the answer choice incorrect in total. You can cross those out. Watch out for correct information that doesn't answer that particular question. Question specifies, and make sure the answer choice only pertains to the section of the passage. So make sure that when you read through the answer choices, they only pertain to the lines given and only to the passage given. Make sure not to use any other outside information or any other parts of the text to understand the answer and where you would come up with the answer choice. Um, Questions and their answers are often similar. Use these questions to answer the others. For example, if you see different questions within multiple answer choices mentioning isolationist nature of wolves, they're probably the right ones. So when you come across something that makes your answer choice wrong, cross that out and cross out the word in a phrase and then cross out the answer choice itself. And this is kind of like you're showing your work. Go back on and see why exactly you crossed out the answer choice because of one word or a phrase. If the question mentions multiple lines, read the entire paragraph. So, for example, we can go to this test. If it says maybe like lines 1 to 65, you don't want to exactly just read the first sentence. You actually want to read probably the whole paragraph, just to understand the context of the question and where the word directly would most nearly mean. Okay, next. If the question does not specify any lines, then you should leave it for last. The questions usually are main idea questions and other context-based questions that aren't specifically line intended to answer for. So entry choices will match the main idea and tone of the specific area. If you're stuck between two, the one that most closely matches what the passage says will be right. So after reading the passage, you should get a general idea of what the tone of the passage is. So it could be negative, positive, or neutral. And the answer choice should usually reflect that tone. So you should read through the answer choices and mark whether each answer choice is positive or negative. And based on that, you should be able to cross out a few and hopefully get the correct answer by solely using tone. If not, then you may have to go through the text and probably find more evidence to support your choice. All right. See, when deciding between two answer choices, return to the paragraph and identify any words or phrases in the answer choice that share with the passage. So again, you might narrow it down to 2 or 3, and once you get to that point, you should go back to the text again to look for specific areas that can make the answer choice right or wrong. In this case, usually it's the case of getting it wrong because you usually want to cross out till you get the correct answer. And the correct answer should be able to be backed up by the text, and nothing should come from your opinion or anywhere else from the passage. Okay. When answering main idea and tone questions, mark the tone of each line. Answer choices with the tones that do not match the passage can be marked out. This is again with the tone. If you know the main idea, you should be able to know the tone and mark out a few answer choices based on that. Last one. Vocab questions are not strictly from the passage. So unlike the new SAT, which used to have like a sentence with a few blanks in it, in this case it's now all on the vocab's all in the passage, and you have to answer based on context clues given in the passage. So make sure to read 2 or 3 lines above or and below. Now plot the questions in both. Plot questions. Now we're going to move on to the double long passage. It's quite similar to a regular passage, but we have a few special tips to answer the double passage. So, plot the questions in both, or plot the questions in both questions as before. Also, mark which passage each question deals with. Passage 1, passage 2, or both. So, like I said, with the regular one passage, you want to plot your questions. We're basically doing the same thing, but with two passages. Now, how would you do that? Let's see. Let's go to one of the double passages of this. Let's practice test. Okay, so here we are. We have two different passages. This is the double passage, and scroll down, and I'll show you how to plot your questions through and show how it's passage 1 and 2 or both. So this is specific. This question is specifically for passage 1. So you'd mark a 1 here, and you'd also want to plot the lines 1 through 17 inside the passage, like we always did for a single passage. Then you want to do that for every question. So in this case, all these are 1. These end up being this is a 1, and the rest end up being 2 here. And then the remaining 4 are all actually both. So you'd mark a B right next to these questions. This helps you save your time, and it also helps in the strategies later that we're gonna talk about. Read passage 1, underline and box as before, and answer plotted questions as you come across them. Once you've finished passage 1, answer all passage 1 questions, underline keywords, and eliminate answer choice as before. Um, Now, after you've done that, you want to actually go to the both questions and try to answer a few or cross out a few answer choices that you think you can cross out based on only reading passage 1. Now, after you've done that, you should have crossed out a few passage or both answer choices, and it's going to help when you answer them later. Then you go into passage 2, read the passage, answer the questions accordingly. After you've done that, you want to go to the both questions and answer them based on what you know of passage 1 and passage 2. Now, so you just want to complete that in that order. Um, we can summarize that now with first of all, you want to plot your questions like always. Second, you want to mark each question with the corresponding passage, 1, 2, or both. Then you want to read passage 1, answer passage 1 questions, look at the both questions, and see what you can cross out or eliminate based on reading passage 1. Then you want to go to passage 2, read all that, answer them, then go to both questions and answer the rest of those, and you're completed with the double passage. Okay, so now let's go to some basic tips in general. For about every 9 reading questions, you'll have approximately 11 minutes to complete them. So make sure you get your timing right. It's all about practice, so make sure you practice the reading section to get your timing down. For the NeoCT, there's no guessing penalty. Never leave any question blank. If you're having trouble dealing or deciding between answer choices, try and have what you think the answer is in your head and match it with the answer choice most clearly resemble yours. If you find yourself short on time, you can scout the passages and determine which one is the easiest to do, so you don't have to spend more time on the harder passages. In general, the history passage is the toughest, so you might have to leave that one for last. Now, watch your time. Make sure you don't spend too much on one question. You can always circle the question or flag it. I like to circle the question number if I have trouble and go back to it. But it takes practice. Take practice tests and make sure you have a good feeling of how much time you should take reading a passage and answering the questions based on the tips we have given you or provided. Okay. Now that we've run through the single passage and a few double passage tips, we are going to go on the, let's see. Now we're going to go to a practice test and run through some strats that we just learned. So, So Akira came directly breaking out tradition. Okay, yeah. So we first go to line-based questions. Number 3 would be one. So line 1-65 directly and most nearly means Akira came directly breaking out tradition. Was that it? Had he followed form? Had he asked his mother to speak his father to approach the go-between? I asked directly because the use of go-between takes much time. Keep in mind that go-between is mentioned in both, so that might be implying something for the meaning of directly. So, frankly, does directly mean a frankly? Not exactly. It's that is not fitting for this definition, so that's incorrect. Confidently, that's the same case. It just doesn't fit there. If you read it back into the sentence, then it probably won't make sense. So that's the reason why I'm eliminating it. Without mediation. That is actually the correct answer, just because a go-between is similar to something without mediation, kind of like how you're skipping a step to get something. So that's the answer, but you want to make sure D is incorrect as well. So with precision, nothing mentioned in it about, the answer would be C without mediation. Next question that is line-based. We're going to look at number 7. The main purpose of the first paragraph, although it doesn't say a specific line, you know that it's a line based because you can always just bracket the first paragraph and read that real quick. So we actually kind of read the first paragraph already by just seeing what directly meant. So the main purpose of the first paragraph. So the first paragraph, he has a few questions asked. So let's see what that exactly says. Describes the culture. There are a few questions being asked and nothing being described. That's incorrect. Criticize the tradition. There's nothing being criticized. And criticize is a pretty harsh word. That's incorrect. C. Question and suggestion. That may seem correct at first, but that's not correct because there's no suggestion mentioned in the paragraph. Now, D. Analyze the reaction. This is actually the correct answer because with the rhetorical questions which he's asking to himself, he's actually analyzing the situation rather than questioning suggestions. So the most correct answer is B here. Number 7 is B. Okay. As using line 2 form most nearly means. What does form most nearly mean? We're gonna go to line 2. Was that it? Had he followed form? Had he asked his mother to speak to his father to particular conclusion? Had he followed form? That's the question. So when you think of form in that case, I think of it like a procedure. So how did he follow procedure correctly? So was that an appearance? No. Custom? Possibly. Structure? Possibly. Nature? No. So is it a custom or structure? Had he followed structure? That's not correct. He actually followed a custom because the custom is more of a traditional practice and it's um what you actually follow, uh, meaning or it makes sense there. So you follow custom. That's similar to a procedure. Why does Akira say meaning she is a matter of urgency? Is it line 32? Um, I forget my description, but it comes with a matter of urgency. Just a minute. Okay, so we're moving on to number 9. And what is Akira say's meeting with cheese a matter of urgency? So we go line 32. Let's see. Line 32. Okay, so Madam says Akira, forgive my disruption, but I come with a matter of urgency. So we're looking for what the matter of urgency is in this case. So, like I said, you want to read 2 to 3 lines above and below. In this case, you want to read a little bit further, just because you want to try to find what this matter of urgency is. I don't want to read all of this, so if you were to go through this, you would actually read a little bit below to understand what this matter of urgency is. In this case, it's the dentist for Seattle's Japanese community. So, let's see. So we actually found exactly in the context where he had this matter of urgency. So the answer would be it would be C. He had offered an attractive job in another country. So and actually we can answer number 10 as well because that's an evidence-based question, meaning it's connected to the question before, and you try to find where exactly in the content. In the passage we found the answer choice. So we actually found it here in lines 4142. Where is that located? It's actually located in B, 3942, so the answer is B. Now that we answered the line-based questions, we should be able to go through the main idea questions, the questions that don't have line-based, and it's more of a content-based questions. So we can go to number one, which phrase best describes what happened in the passage. Oh, I forgot. Keep in mind after you answer the line-based questions, you should read the passage as a whole. So there are two options here. You can pause the video and I can wait, or you can pull up the College Board first exam and read through this yourself. Either way, I'm gonna assume that you've read it. Let's see. Either way, I'm gonna assume you read it, and I'm gonna go through the questions right now. Which phrase best describes what happened in the passage? Did another character argue who intrudes on her home? That's not true. There's nothing intruding about his arrival in the home. Um, One character receives a surprising request from another character. That's not the case either. Oh wait, that actually does occur. My bad. One character receives a surprising request from another character. There's nothing wrong about that because given the passage, she does request something and it is surprising, so there's nothing to cross on that answer choice. One character, remember this is about choices. That may have happened, but that's not the main point of the main point of the passage. One character criticizes another character. There's no criticism here, so the answer is B. Which choice best describes the developmental pattern of the passage? Given after you read the whole passage, you should know exactly how it was developed, and especially what the pattern was. So, A, careful analysis of a traditional practice. Uh, it's not traditional at all. Actually, it's actually untraditional because he's trying to marry her, and that's not a traditional practice, especially at a random time. A detailed depiction of a meaningful encounter. This could be right because it is a meaningful encounter and it was a detailed depiction of it. C, a definitive response to a series of questions. That's not the correct answer. There are actually not a series of questions anywhere. A cheerful recounting of an amusing anecdote. Amusing anecdote is too positive for this situation. The answer is B. A detailed depiction of a meaningful encounter. Okay, number four. Which reaction does Akira most fear from Chi? Um, if you read the passage, you should know in lines around like 63. We have an understanding. Please don't judge my candidacy by this. It means something proposed. So A, she will consider his proposal inappropriate. That seems like the case because he doesn't want her to judge him. So we'll see. She will mistake the earnestness for his immaturity. That's not the case here. There's no immaturity shown, and you cannot assume that. C, she'll consider his unscheduled visit an imposition. It's not really an imposition. It's kind of too negative for a word. She'll understand the sincerity of his emotion. That's not stated anywhere in the paragraph, so you cannot assume that. Therefore, the most correct answer would be A, because he did not want her to judge his candidacy. Where is that seen? Oh, as I pointed out earlier, slide 63 64, answer is C. Now we go to number 6. In the passage, Akira addresses Chi with, you should also gain a general idea of how he treated her in his tone when he talks to her. So affection, but not general love. You actually don't see any affection in the text. But what you do see are examples of respectfulness. As he calls her madam, he also bows and puts his hands hanging straight down. So that's a sign of respect. So we're gonna go into here and see. Affection, no. Objectivity, but not complete. Impartiality, no. Amusement, that's not even close. And respect. And that's actually what we saw in the text, so the answer is D. So I just ran through the practice test, giving you answering the questions and how we teach it in our lesson, and hopefully you follow the strategies to get a better score. So um, that seems like it. That's all. That's about it. So I'm just gonna end it right now. Okay, thank you.